Welcome to Shoutout Interviews. I'm your host, Mo Jacob. This is where we give thanks and praise to all the folks that do great things in our communities. Welcome to part 3 of 3 of our conversation with Norval McConnell. There's so much to talk about with Norval. He does so many great things in our community, but I did want to make sure that we touched on multi-sports camp. My son Nathan attends that, and it's always an educational experience and a growing experience for Nathan. So we talked about multi-sports camp with Norval.
Well, Bill Black was another teacher here in town. He was a volleyball guy, and I was a basketball guy, and we always had this idea that camps were long for kids if it was just one sport all day.
Sure.
And so Bill and I decided one summer, let's try a basketball-volleyball camp. We were at the time we called it a multi-sport camp, but really only 2 sports. Right. The first year we tried to run it, we had 8 kids apply. We didn't run it. That was 1989. Mm-hmm. In 1990, we tried again and we got 18 and we decided we run it. And I don't know if I ever worked harder in my life than with 18 kids from 9 till 4 every day with a 1-hour lunch break. You looked forward to, but it was tremendously enjoyable. And from that camp, the next year, Randy Armstrong joined us, who's still with us.
Yes.
And the next year after that, Judy Vautour joined us, who's still with us.
Coach Vautour.
Coach Vautour brought soccer. And then over time, we hired, Todd Adams, Greg Longafee, Stacy Boudreau's with us now, Gerard Reinders, Troy McKenzie. And for me, the most powerful part of camp is watching the interaction between adults who truly want to be there and spending time with kids in a setting where the kids want to be. And it's going to be 28 years this summer.
Wow.
28 years. And I have second-generation kids. Last year, Morgan Towers, young fella Draven, has been coming a couple summers.
Right.
He's a second-generation kid. And Dawson Babineau came last summer, and his father, Josh, had come in the 90s. So we're getting second-generation kids. And some people say that's a sign it's time to retire. But it's one of my favorite 2 weeks of the summer. And it's enjoyable and rewarding and easy to do because it's geared towards everybody having fun and understanding that competition is one thing, friendship is another, and you can have them both.
Mm-hmm. And from a parent's point of view, it's amazing.
Well, and you watch those where they have assistant coaches who are typically kids that are grade 8 going into 9 or a little bit older.
Right.
So they're assigned to each team. So they've been campers, most of them. And watching them work with the kids to put these, it reminds us that a lot of times people say we've overstructured the lives of children in today's world. Everything's organized for them. And I'm not going to disagree that everything's organized for them. But in that particular case, a lot of what happens at multi-sport camp is actually adults standing out of the way and allowing children to do the things that they do very well. Play, develop their own games, and develop their own relationships.
Well, I can vouch firsthand for all the great things that you do with multi-sports camp. Norval McConnell, thank you very much for everything you do in our community. You've been listening to Shoutout Interviews. I'm your host, Mo Jacob. Thanks for listening.